G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in over on the south side of the map, playing as the Chinese. We have got Marine Lord in the color blue. On the opposite side of the map, playing as the Red Rus, we have got Caspar. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a ladder game, just your standard old ladder game. Nothing special, no Golden League, no Road to Red Bull, and definitely no octagons here. But this is quite an interesting matchup that we have got here because we've got the Chinese, a civilization which is typically considered to be not the best when it comes to open maps like this map here, which of course we are playing on Lipany right now. When it comes to the Rus on this map, they are considered to be pretty decent on this map, just purely because there's that little bit of extra food that you've got access to. This map often spawns with a little bit of weird choke points. I guess that's probably the best way to say it. Strange choke points. And we can see now that almost half the map is blocked off for Marine Lord up towards this northern side. There's a little bit of a way to wall through, but that's about it. And it's quite a large plateau, and that's going to give a huge amount of security to Caspar up towards this northern position on this sacred site. By the same token, down towards the south side, there is just an equally large amount of just natural walls that we've got in here. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the game unfolds because this matchup's quite a difficult one, especially for the Rus. Recently, there's been a number of Barbican rushes that you guys would have seen. They've been taken over the ladder. They've been taken over all different sorts of tournaments. And we've been seeing a whole bunch out recently on the Road to Red Bull. We've seen the Muslim pulling out the barbecue rush. So I'm thinking there's a good chance that Marine Lord looks to try and pull out the barbecue rush. And I think it starts to beg the question, like at this point, we saw earlier when the developers, I'm not, now for all you OG guys, you guys will remember this. There was a time where the Mongols could pick up their town center and put it right next to your town center. Now they're not able to do that anymore. There's actually an error message that pops up and basically says, hey, you can't build this so close to the enemy town center. It's going to be a bit further away. And we've never really looked back. No one's ever complained about it. We've never had an issue about it at all. But I'm starting to think like maybe it might get to the point, because Age of Empires 3 has got this, where basically you get an error message that says, hey, you're building too close to the enemy town center. You're not allowed to do that. Now, I don't know if I would advocate for something like that, but I definitely feel like Barbican is becoming a really difficult to deal with strategy because, as an example here for Marine Lord, like you can see, okay, we've got the wood here, we've got the food underneath the town center. He could very easily just come in and Barbican right here. Villagers are going to be making the Barbican on this south side and not going to be able to get hit by the town center, and then it's going to be able to take out the villagers on the wood line. It's going to force off Caspar away from that position. So we'll have to look and see how Marine Lord plays it. It looks like Caspar just going to be going up with the Golden Gate. No surprises there. No Kremlin shenanigans, something that has been rumored to have been happening, that we have been apparently hearing about Kremlin rushes coming out. Not going to be the case today. No, sorry, Bob. It is going to be Caspar, who is just playing Golden Gate. We'll check in with Marine Lord and see how he's doing because he's got the age up ready to go through, and it's just going to be an Imperial Academy. So it doesn't look like we've got any sneaky rushes coming out today, but obviously you've got China here, and it looks like Marine Lord just going to be doing a pretty standard Chinese build. Actually, I take that back. He was on a straggler tree. In fact, yeah, there was a straggler tree right here that he was actually on, so almost, I don't know whether this definitely isn't rushing up a landmark because he's going up at 3. I would need to watch Marine Lord's build order and see exactly what went on here, but it doesn't look, I guess I'm going to say optimal is probably the kindest word, but just looking at the age up time as well as the fact that he's a bit of a slow transfer over to wood. Like, it's definitely not a fast age up time, that's for sure. Maybe just playing, oh, you know what, I've just realized he's over gathering on gold quite heavily. So I don't know whether he's going for maybe a wheelbarrow play here. We'll have to wait and see exactly what he does, but you can see the Imperial official is going to be gathering up gold here. He's got 3 on gold. He's got plenty of gold in the bank. But now, it looks like Marine Lord's going to be spotting out those villagers heading up towards the north. We'll check on the minimap and see where those boars have spawned. We've got a boar down the south and a boar up to... What? Where? Is he taking... There's nothing over here to take. Hold on. Just when you thought the Barbican was coming out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the brand new meta. It is the Wooden Fortress Rush that is coming out for Caspar. This is coming down before 5 minutes. There are plenty of villagers here, and Marine Lord, he's going to have enough resources to throw down the Barbican almost. Yeah, there we go, 9 resources. But the problem is, okay, you don't care if you... The Rus player doesn't care if you get the Barbican up, because if they get the Wooden Fortress up, then they deny the food here. And that's what they want. It's all about denying the resources with this. And now that that's up, this Barbican doesn't even mean anything. Like, sure, it's essentially just useless. It is completely useless. He's got to evacuate from this position. Probably needs to drop down another mill on the back here and start using it for the sheep. Otherwise, just keep them under the town center. But he's going to have to move on. We'll ride on board with Caspar for a little bit and see exactly what he's up to. It's going to be a stable coming in back home. He's on 335 bounty at the moment. He's also going to be picking up that boar in the middle. So I like this play. Instead of dropping down the Wooden Fortress on the boar, instead goes for a forward Wooden Fortress on the Chinese berries. And interestingly, this could have been on any Chinese resource. The berries is the best one, definitely, because not only do you nullify those berries, you also nullify these sheep, you also nullify the mill, and it forces exactly what is happening right now. It forces Marine Lord to come down a fair distance away, and it means that all of these resources, there's no tax collection that's going to be happening here at all. It's just not a possibility. But really interesting by Caspar to go for this opening here. Now, I guess one of the things to talk about with the Wooden Fortress is that we are, or it has got a much greater health pool. So if you were to take a look at, say, a normal outpost, it's got 1,000 health, okay? But the Wooden Fortress has actually got 2,000 health on it, which means that it's pretty much already got that stone upgrade. You know, the one that cost 100 stone? Now, the difference is that the Wooden Fortress doesn't get that extra +5 fire armor. So, you know, when the scout is sieging down something, it's going to be throwing out its torch, and that's going to be fire armor. And now we can see that the scout going to be trying its best to come in here and just cause a little bit of havoc. All the villagers are quite healthy already. Going to be trying to do a little bit of a surround here. They've got their stabby stabs out, and that's going to be a scout going down there from Marine Lord. So a little bit of a lapse in attention. But now we've got those scouts moving around, and you can see that Wooden Fortress, 2,000 health over there for it. So basically, it's a really smart move from Caspar to utilize this. Obviously, you're paying a lot more for those, or for the Wooden Fortress, but at the same time, I mean, it also translates over into a nice little Castle Age Wooden Fortress with the option of a Springald as well. But he's going to be dropping down the second Wooden Fortress. No Wooden Fortress back in the base for now, and it's going to be an early night that comes out. He's got a ticket in the bank for him to use. No villagers on food at the moment. There's more villagers moving forward. He is absolutely wild with these villagers right now, heavy on the gold. But now coming out and looking to drop another Wooden Fortress down. There's also a horseman that's come out here. Now, keep in mind, the Wooden Fortress that is down here, there's 8 villager slots in it. So in the event he wants to come, he's just surrounded the horseman. And this is a classic horseman play right here, just getting absolutely destroyed by villagers. You love to see it. But villagers, got to be careful, because even if they do jump inside this Wooden Fortress like they've done, they're going to expose themselves to that Barbican. So in the event they evacuate here, they will get shot by that Barbican. So they're going to be very careful. Make sure that you only put higher health villagers in there. Ideally, you just wouldn't even have them in. But that knight going to be coming around now. And I think this is probably where I want to start asking the question, you know, a Wooden Fortress, not Wooden Fortresses, but Outposts too strong? Because I'll be honest with you guys, I am definitely, if you were to categorize, you know, people into agrees with Outposts are too strong and disagrees that Outposts are too strong, I am firmly in the agree camp. I think that I genuinely think it is starting to get a little bit. It's starting to get a little bit silly, the way that almost every civilization's able to do it. We're starting to see, like, obviously English doing tower rushes, China doing tower rushes, Mongols doing tower rushes, the Holy Roman Empire, I'm not even kidding you, I've seen doing tower rushes, the Delhi doing tower rushes. And now we're seeing the Rus do tower rushes with the most expensive outposts there are in the game. And look how deep he's going with this. He's using knights to support as well. Obviously, knights going to be incredibly strong here. Villagers going to have to fall back towards this Wooden Fortress. But remember that this is a very strong outpost that is going to go up here. It's a little bit more expensive for him to do it, but there's a lot of things going on for him back at home. If he drops down a Wooden Fortress, he's obviously going to be able to buff up that wood even more. And I'm starting to wonder, like, do we dare see a Kremlin rush potentially come out? I mean, the primary differences are going to be, it's going to take some time compared to the Barbican, but you can see the knights down here towards the south just doing a great job of cleaning this up. There's going to be more horsemen coming through, but all of them are such low health, and there's no real way for China to heal these up until the Castle Age comes through. So just losing a lot of these units, they're very low health, and now moving coming out with more villagers, and you can see him daisy chaining the wooden fortresses through. He's also got the knights here to support. You know, the only real exception that we haven't seen is like France doing early outposts, but the thing is, you do actually see French players do that. So they will push up here on your front with a knight and archer composition, and at the same time they'll bring a single villager down and drop an outpost down, or they'll drop an outpost down over here in the exact same spots that we've got. So it's definitely something, you know, I guess for me, the way I think about it is like an outpost typically should be there to provide number one, line of sight, and number two, protection for villagers. But the way that we see it used at the moment, it is very clearly on an offensive objective. So I guess the way that I would go about fixing this, or big issues that I see, number one is the range. So when you drop down this outpost and you get that upgrade, we actually see the villagers going to be able to move up. These guys are going to be able to come around. Nice little swoop in here. Marine Lord going to be able to do a decent job actually cleaning up the villages. He's going to be able to take down this outpost as well. But I guess the big thing for me is that with these wooden fortresses, with any outpost, once they've got that emplacement coming through, that arrow slits, it's going to do a huge amount to the range. Those arrows there, it actually fires beyond those arrows. I think that arrow indicates 6 range, which is where the outpost would fire if it had villagers inside it. Once it gets that extra 2 range from the emplacement, which we can see down here, so it goes up to 8 tiles, from 6 up to 8 tiles, that is where it really starts to get hurt. Now we've got more villagers coming up. Now we just saw earlier that Caspar lost a whole bunch of villagers. In fact, if we check villager count, 27 versus 35. So Marine Lord is up by 8 villagers now, and he's going to continue to pull villagers towards this front. Outpost does get cancelled. Wooden fortress rather gets cancelled. Another wooden fortress, and he's just continuing to come back, and you can see the knight going to be able to come out here though, and Marine Lord really struggling to deal with this. Over towards the north side of the base, he's shut down berries. He's also shut down the gold mines, and that's double gold mine that's been shut down over there. So it's going to basically rule out any kind of gold. Marine Lord going to be looking to do a bit of a surround on that early knight. Is successful. Villagers still going to get taken out though, and now turning their attention towards the second knight. We see that Caspar struggling here. We'll go into the perspective of Marine Lord, and oh my lord, there's just attacks happening absolutely everywhere. And you can see that with the stable here as well, it is going to be every single time a horseman is produced, its effective health is 109, just simply because it is continuing to lose health as the game goes on, just simply because of that outpost. So the outpost on the hill comes through for Caspar. We'll ride on board with him and see how he's going as he continues jumping around this map. He's now looking to try and encroach upon these berries, and indeed he will do so successfully. Behind this, you can see he's got plenty of resources in the bank. We'll have a look and see how many tickets he's sitting on. He's sitting on 2 tickets at the moment, so not a huge amount. Has got double stable also out. But keep in mind, there is that villager difference that he's got going. Villagers are going to be jumping inside that outpost. There we go. So 30 villagers at the moment for Caspar compared to 31 for Marine Lord. So Marine Lord's lost quite a few to these knights, and there's more raids now coming down to the south. We do see a mill comes up, but at the same time now an outpost is going to be coming through to defend for Marine Lord. So this is the kind of outpost that I definitely would agree with. A defensive outpost. You look at Marine Lord, obviously he wants to spot out those raids. So I would be an advocate, you know, keep the line of sight for the outpost the way that it is, but I really feel like range is such a big factor, especially in the feudal age. When you start talking about 8 range on these emplacements, it's just ludicrous. And now those arrow slits are just going to continue firing off towards these units, moving in with more wooden fortresses. And this is the part where I'm like, I'm really starting to worry for Marine Lord, because at the moment, as a Chinese player, like typically if you've watched Beastie Cutie's video, and he does like how to defend against tower rushes or Barbican rushes, and basically what he says is all you need to do is just like pick up your villagers and just move to a different place. Well, that might be easier said than it is done, because you can see that Caspar is relentless in following around Marine Lord all over the map. And keep in mind, Marine Lord, one of the best players in the world, okay? He is currently Conqueror 3. He is, you know, he's winning tournaments. He is absolutely smashing it, obviously just coming off his Golden League victory. So he's looking really, really good, really, really healthy. And so Caspar obviously still a very good player, but by no means on the same level that Marine Lord is when it comes to consistency in these big tournaments. But we can still see that he has got a great way to utilize these wooden fortresses, and yes, it is creative. Yes, it is an interesting way to play the game, but I think you've got to ask the question whether it is a healthy way for the game to be played. And I want to throw that question over towards you guys, because you guys will be, you know, watching this video, and you'll be having your own opinions, your own decisions as to whether you think that outposts need to be changed a little, whether you're happy with them in the way that they are. do they support a base enough? Are they too aggressive? Are they not defensive enough? What is your thoughts on this? Because for me, watching this, obviously, you know, this is hilarious and we can joke about it all we like, but at the end of the day, like, it is also just absolutely oppressive. It is, and it's like, it just makes me... It makes me tremble. I don't even want to change to the perspective of Marine Lord because I know he's going to be under attack at so many different points. There's a mill that's being attacked by 3 outposts, a barracks under attack, a mill under attack over here, a stable under attack by 2 separate wooden fortresses. Down towards this position, we see that there's a lumber camp under attack. So his attack notifications right now are just going to be going out the wazoo. Let's have a look and see exactly what it looks like. That was like attacks at like 8 different places, and I think that's, you know, that's pretty much part of it as well, and I think that's probably something that also needs to be looked at. But I guess there's arguments on both sides, but I guess for me it's like, you know, but casting a lot of the high level stuff where it is very obvious that we are seeing a lot more prevalence when it comes to outposts. And, you know, there's different types of things. Like, if you were to look at Mongol Tower Rush as an example, right? Like, you've got your very standard Mongol Tower Rush that just comes out, you know, 2 spearmen, Mongol outpost comes down behind a wood line, and they look to defend it. I don't have a problem with that. I think that is absolutely fine. Where I start to draw the line is this, where you've got outposts just absolutely everywhere over the enemy's base. Caspar now going to be mining the stone away as well from Marine Lord. And Marine Lord in a really difficult place, and we can see the scouts up here towards the north, but I suspect there's probably going to be some knights en route. Indeed, there is 1, 2, 3 knights heading towards that direction. He's got another one in queue. Still just a single town center for Caspar at this point, but he's done great to just trade out on these villages. And now we see another outpost coming up, but there are so many villages here for Marine Lord, 18 villages. It's going to be a tight squeeze, a tight fit to fit all of those villages inside that outpost. And indeed, the first knight comes through and meets those villages. By the way, no textiles for Marine Lord. That hurts really badly. He's on 43 villages compared to 37 at the moment. That outpost is going to get up, but there's not going to be enough space for everybody inside it. They're definitely going to be looking to fight their way through it. We see a little bit of a counter raid coming back on the other side. A villager did go down here for Caspar, but he has managed to get one of them inside that wooden fortress. Back towards that base, though. We'll check in with that raid that's coming through, and Caspar is looking to absolutely wreck through Marine Lord's villager count now. Continuing to lose villagers. A couple spearmen going to be in the mix as well. Going to be careful of those ones, as they indeed are just going to be putting out that very solid DPS. You'll see those stabs coming through every single time. That's where the big chunk of health gets lost. But he manages to surround these 2, and at the cost of quite a few villagers, he's going to be losing here. But Marine Lord now going to be sitting on 39 villagers as well as Caspar. And look at all of the things that are under attack right now for Marine Lord. It is just absolutely everywhere. Another wooden fortress down towards the south side as well. Units got cleaned up in the base. And he is under attack everywhere. So, you know, like, I definitely agree with Beastie. You know, it's about picking up and moving on to a new location. But at the same time, like, how many outposts, how many wooden fortresses do we have up for Caspar right now? We've got 14. There are 14 wooden fortresses out for Caspar, of which, you know, 4 are on this north side of the base. And then you've got 1. Oh, there's another one coming up. There you go. There's another one coming up there for Caspar. And it just goes up so damn quick as well. And I think that's probably the big thing. So maybe that could be one thing that they could look at as well, as sort of build speed for the outpost. Or not necessarily build speed, but, you know, each villager has got a mitigating return on how many villagers or how many villager seconds it reduces, or the build time that it reduces from that outpost or that wooden fortress. So maybe they could make it so that it builds a little bit slower. But we do finally see a ram coming out. Marine Lord also going into a market as well. So looking to market trade out some of this wood here that he's got. But the resources for him are starting to get really limited. He's got a stone on the backside. He's also got access to a gold vein, but obviously no chance of grabbing it with these wooden fortresses here. Now we see more villagers. Going to be dropping down a lumber camp at the top, but Caspar going to be dropping down that outpost in response. You can see he's actually going to have to fall back away from that position, heading towards the wooden fortress, where he will be able to find cover. But remember, those arrow slits going to be able to fire down on those horsemen, on that horseman, and you can see that the horseman actually got brought in despite Marine Lord clicking outside the radius of it, because that final arrow lands right after the horseman stops, and then the horseman comes back in, and then he loses the horseman. And that is a bug. It's not a bug. That is you know, it's just a fact. It's just a way of life. And I've lost many units to that one before. But, I mean, just absolute impressive coverage. Now, one of the things that we haven't seen Marine Lord do is sneak villagers. And now this is somewhat a consequence of his of his spawn. He hasn't really had the ability to move villagers up towards this northern position. He would have loved to have done it, but obviously being blocked in by this wood line, being blocked in over here, you know, it served as a double-edged sword, this map, Libany. It's just, with its generation, sometimes it can be a little bit tough, and by the same token, I think that we could have seen, you know, had Marine Lord gone for a wall here, maybe an outpost to just prevent a chop through from coming through, he might have been able to stop this completely. He's got a lot of resources up towards this north. They're very safe. But now we see some outposts coming up over on the ridge line as well. Obviously, Caspar knows about this wood up towards the north. He knows that he can't really get in either because of that outpost as well. And now looks to drop down another outpost. He just continues pushing forward with the outpost. And at this point in the game, like, I guess for me, the big thing is I just want to draw attention back to that and just say, like, you know, is this something that the developers need to be looking at? Is this appropriate, or not appropriate, but like, are we happy as a community to be watching or witnessing this kind of play? Because, like, look, I want to give credit where credit is due. Caspar's doing a great job here to use this. I give him full credit for that. But at the same time, when you start seeing the prevalence of outposts in both rank play, ladder play, and also in tournaments, that's when I think you've got to start asking the questions, you know, are players now relying too much on the outposts? Has the outposts become too strong? And I definitely feel like the answer is yes. So, look, I'm going to use my platform here to try and advocate for some change, but I'm curious what you guys think as well, because I can tell you right now, there's no way Marine Lord is holding this at all. He's just got no... There is nowhere for him to gather resources. He just simply cannot do it. Caspar's got the entire map covered, like, with the exception of this stone outcropping towards the back. There's literally nowhere for Marine Lord. And even though, sure, he might be cleaning up the wooden fortresses, there's so much health on these bad boys. And by the time that you're finally through it, there's just going to be more units that are coming out for Caspar. We'll take a look over towards Caspar's base and see how he's doing. It's just going to be the one town center still for him. So he's very invested in this. But you can see he's just really impressive with the Knight control as well. He's sitting on 43 villagers. We'll compare that over to Marine Lord. He's on 33 villagers. So Marine Lord's just continued to bleed villagers this whole time. And keep in mind, he's been in Song Dynasty. So he's making those villagers faster. So it looks like he's slowly and steadily getting through this. But keep in mind, there are knights that are right here, ready to go in the event that units do vacate the premises. And indeed they do. Look to try and get down that battering ram. It's going to come down to 92 health. And now we've got archers also coming out for Caspar as well. So he's going to be looking to tee off on those hardened spearmen. Archer's going to be able to jump inside the outpost, going to be able to come back out as well. And now that all of the archers have been focused down by the wooden fortress, the knights pop out and they are able to clean up the horsemen. Archer's going to come out as well, look to try and deal with any of these units as they see fit. Going to be able to clean this up. Remember, all this time, villagers have been dying up towards the north. 45 villagers versus 28. Marine Lord not looking pretty right now. Continuing to struggle. He's managed to clean up 4 wooden fortresses, 5 wooden fortresses. But the wooden fortress numbers for Caspar are healthy, happy. We'll take a look at his villagers down towards the south and see how many. Still got 14 wooden fortresses out on the field. And now continuing to clean up these forces on the gold mine. And this is where it really comes in, and now good game gets called. So there you go, fellas. I mean, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about wooden fortresses. We got to talk about outposts. Are you happy with the way that it currently goes? Personally, I'm not a fan. But I'd love to know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.